Well, welcome to another lockdown. That's right, Ontario here, Ontario, Canada has just issued another 28-day lockdown, where we're not supposed to meet with anybody outside of our own households. Small businesses have bigger restrictions. Movie theaters are closed. Sporting events are closed, etc., etc., etc. But it seems like it's just a huge thing of deja vu. Absolutely feeling of deja vu here. I don't feel like the restrictions have ever lifted. Every time we go out, we're wearing a mask. We have to social distance. Has anybody really gone to a restaurant in Ontario and eaten? I know a lot of people do takeout, but that's it. Apparently some patios were open for outside dining and everything, but it's normally freezing here. We're just starting to get good weather. And now that the good weather's here, they decided to shut down outdoor dining as well. Bars had to close at 9 o'clock anyway, 9:30. Quebec still has a curfew for 9:30 at night, and now more restrictions are in place. It's just deja vu. I don't think anything has really changed. It's not going to change my day-to-day routine in the least. We weren't able to go to movie theaters, which is one of the things I love to do. Am I going to stop getting together with my son? Am I going to stop getting together with my daughter and my grandkids? No. There's no stay-at-home order. It's just saying, please don't get together with huge groups of family. So we're not. But I do have a bubble. I have a bubble of people that I see. A total of four. 4 whole people. And we don't see each other at the same time. So really, it's not a big thing. One of the big things that they seem to do, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that seems to be the only solution they have right now, is lock down the small businesses and restaurants and bars and movie theaters. Meanwhile, Costco can have 1,000 people in it. Walmart can have 1,000 people in it. The manufacturing plants that work almost side by side with each other, they're all open. Amazon, huge warehouses, they're all open. And that's where the majority of the spread is. If you actually look at their numbers and everything, the number one place that everything gets, the virus spreads, there's 2 main locations. Industry, manufacturing. So warehouses, supply chains, things like that. The other, grocery stores. People going to get their groceries. Those are the 2 number 1 places that people get the virus. So they're not shutting any of those down. We can't shut down our grocery stores. We can shut down our manufacturing in a lot of places. We could shut down Amazon. We can wait 2 weeks to get something from Amazon. It doesn't have to come here today. So that is someplace they could shut down, but they're not. They're not shutting any of those places down. Instead, they're shutting down the mom and pop places, the restaurants, anything to do with entertainment, because they think that's the number one thing we have to focus on. People having fun, people enjoying themselves. People go out of the house to enjoy themselves. And that's true. But if you don't stop the spread in the other places, this doesn't do much. It might, in here in Ontario, our biggest city is Toronto area. They've been in lockdown for 5 months now. And these new restrictions won't change a thing there. There's nothing. The whole lockdown in the province doesn't change Toronto one bit. So how is this going to help Toronto? And by the way, Toronto has the most infections in the country. So how is this going to help? They keep on saying, well, it's province-wide now, and now people from Toronto aren't going to go here and aren't going to go there, and because nothing's open. Yeah, okay, but the only thing that people from Toronto and everything were really doing was heading to their cottages and places like that. They're still going to do that. There's no movement restrictions. There's no travel restrictions throughout Ontario. There's no order to stay in your own city. So people are still going to head out to the cottages. They're still going to go to the grocery stores to pick up food. So they're still going to go around. Nobody is driving 4.5 hours from Toronto to Ottawa to go to a restaurant or to see a movie. They're just not doing that. So again, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that seems to be the only answer we have. No one's coming up with other answers. So yeah, I don't know. It's not going to change my life any. And I'm curious out there. Any of you being put under lockdown right now, anyone else in Ontario or any place else in Canada that you are now being given, like British Columbia, new restrictions. Might be different in British Columbia. A lot of things were starting to open there. Quebec, you're under lockdown in most places. Ontario, we're back under lockdown. But is it going to change anything? Is anything that anything that I could do today, I can't do tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to do that anymore, and I don't think I'll ever do that No, I don't foresee anything changing in my life, but I live by myself. So that's a big difference, right? When you live by yourself, you don't have young kids, you don't have to bring them to sporting events or bring them to school or look after them in daycare. My life is different from somebody else who may have some younger children or even teenage children. They may feel more restrictive. And you just have to wonder, the longer and longer this goes on, what's those long-term ramifications? What is this doing to the mental health of people who are like myself, living alone? I know people who right now are living alone who are having a very, very hard time. They feel isolated, they feel lonely, they feel depressed, and it's weighing on them. It's been a year of self-isolation and not being able to see friends, not being able to see family, being afraid to go outside, or being afraid to be ticketed if you go outside in some cases. And that can take a toll on somebody. Huge. So you gotta wonder what the full ramifications are of always doing just the same thing. Lockdown. Lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. And it's never a full lockdown. It's never lockdowns like they've done in other countries, where they shut everything down except your food. And that was it. Just your food and emergency services. Here we're going to leave this open and partially closed. So it's never a full lockdown. So when you don't do a full lockdown and you do half measures, it never really solves the problem. And so this will go on for 4 more weeks, and then they'll slowly start to open things up again. And then there'll be another rise in cases again, and then they'll shut people down again, and it's just like bounce, 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 bounce. Again, totally the definition of insanity.